4 mental health issues you might be avoiding right now. 1, you don't have the life you had before the pandemic. You never will again. When the pandemic was happening and everyone was experiencing lots of mental health issues, it put a spotlight on mental health creators that were posting online. You can't love someone else until you love yourself is bullshit. Because 1, it implies that people with low self-esteem or mental health issues are incapable of loving others. Just sit with that. I have a disclaimer on my, TikTok and Instagram that this is not therapy. My mental health takes are not specifically tailored to you. Sure, I'm a licensed therapist, but I'm not your licensed therapist. All the online spaces where I share content, yes, even those live streams where you shoot me questions, are not therapy sessions. So I want somebody to take in my content and then think about it and analyze it. Therapy speak is a new way of saying psychobabble. They're usually more vulnerable words that talk about the primary emotions that you're experiencing. But there's other ways that people are using that language to hurt people or manipulate people or control people or sort of shut down conversations. There's a difference between selfishness and grandiosity and narcissism. It's very rare that you would be diagnosed with a narcissistic personality disorder.
They tend to believe everything is everyone else's fault. And it comes out of early childhood. There is a stage of development where your ego is separate from other people's ego, and you're able to see that both of those are important. Something is wrong in that development. And it leaves someone having a really hard time seeing other people's needs as important as their own.
Gaslighting is a pretty popular term these days, and what it means is somebody is trying to manipulate you into believing in a reality that's not true. But sometimes people are like, what, you're disagreeing with me? You're not validating my experience? You're gaslighting me, which is not actually what they're doing. So if you say that somebody is a gaslighter, that can be a pretty incendiary accusation. I think that everybody should clearly express what their boundaries are in relationships. It's sort of like a blueprint that you offer somebody. So a healthy boundary that somebody might create is, I'm not going to continue talking to you if you start to yell at me. A different way to use boundaries that's not exactly correct is to try to control somebody's behavior or manipulate somebody's behavior.
You're allowed to say, I don't want to go to dinner, right? That's a boundary. But to be well, I'll go if you go to this kind of place, but I'm not going to go if you go to this kind of place. And you can't tell me I can't because I'm allowed to set boundaries, right? You're now overstating it. 5 small but very bright green flags in a relationship. 1, you sense their connection with you throughout the day. We keep talking for decades and decades and decades in the field of how we can improve mental health. And the reality is that the way you improve anything is with education.
Therapists on Instagram and YouTube could do a better job at verifying the licenses and degrees and trainings that therapists have. And if therapists and mental health professionals didn't have to talk about things in coded ways, like eating disorders or social justice or anxiety or depression or suicidality, then I think that there could be some really good education happening online.